Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Man Bites Film. This week we are going to be reviewing two great films that are currently streaming on Netflix. I got a theme for today's episode, and it is Christopher Nolan. This man is one of the most phenomenal directors of our time, and I wanted to focus on two films of his that are currently streaming on Netflix and are fantastic films. The first one that I want to go straight into is one that this was the first time I actually seen this film, and it's called Follow Me. And this is a 1998 film. It runs about an hour and 9 minutes, and it follows a young writer that follows strangers for material for his books and his stories and stuff like that. He's not really a writer. He's a starting off writer, I guess you could say, and he meets a thief in his little travels and all that stuff, and the thief takes him under his wing, and he starts being taught all these different things on how to break into houses, how to do this, how to do that, and he takes it as a philosophical approach, the thief that is. And the writer is very intrigued by the fact that this man is showing him, like, following people and breaking into people's houses is very similar. And the reason he does it is like, it's an intrigue about how people would react to being watched, being broken into, and everything. And the thief has a very awesome line that I was like, wow, this is the core principle of the film. Is like, I break into people's houses because you never know what type of person it is until they've lost something. And the what do you call it? Like, if they lose something, they don't know the true value of it until it's gone. And that's very, very true. And I think it's very interesting to people watch. And this film is the epitome of people watching and observing how people react to certain things and everything like that. It's very interesting. And of course, Christopher Nolan is known for doing his crazy plot twist and amazing storytelling with very artistic camera work and very artistic play on words and play on story. He does not do your usual films. So, on that note, I wanted to go into a few of his films that he did. One of the biggest, the first big film that he did was The Following. And he has also directed the Dark Knight trilogy, The Prestige, Inception, Interstellar, and he is directing now Dunkirk. This film comes out in July, and this is my most anticipated film of the year. I cannot wait to see this film. I am a huge history buff, and the Battle of Dunkirk has never been put on film. And this is not, from what I've read and from what I've been told, this is not the usual war film. This is more about the people involved in Dunkirk. Anybody that doesn't know, Dunkirk is actually a battle that happened in World War II, where the British and the French army was literally stranded on a beach. They were surrounded to the point where they could not go north, south, or east. The only way that they could go is west, which was the ocean. So all these people from England found out that they got stranded on there, and they took their personal boats out into the middle of the ocean when they knew that they could get sunk, because the Germans were raiding the crap out of any boat that came to try to save them. So the story is about them saving all these people, but the battle, they lost all their equipment, and this changes the whole tide of the war, because the British had literally had nothing after Dunkirk, because all their tanks, all their artillery, everything was left on that beach. The only thing that they had left was their Air Force. So they threw all their money into the Air Force, and that is a huge change in perspective for the British. And their Navy, Air Force became, bar none, one of the best. So this film is gonna be amazing. It's all filmed in IMAX, which is his usual trope that he does, and he does it well. I mean, this man is a phenomenal director. He has an eye that I've never seen before. He is one of the best directors of our time. He is up there with Kubrick and all these guys for our generation. I really cannot wait to see another Christopher Nolan film, and I will be watching this probably first weekend. So please check this out. That's Dunkirk. It's coming out in July, and I will be doing a review of that as soon as I watch it. You better know that. So the next one is The Prestige. This one is a 2006 film, and it is currently streaming on Netflix. Again, directed by Christopher Nolan, and starring Christian Bale, Hugh Jackman, Scarlett Johansson, Michael Caine, David Bowie, and Andy Serkis. This follows the story of two magicians competing against each other for the best magic trick. And both of these magicians are literally like they're trying to go at each other and trying to find the best trick for the audience, turning all these crazy ideas and making it even more risque, more out there. And one of the tricks that one of the magicians does is like the disappearing man, and he basically goes in one door and comes out the other door within seconds. And this is the main drive of the film, is the other magician trying to figure out how he does that trick, because it looks exactly like him. And they're like, Michael Caine character, he actually says it's very simple. He just gets a double. And then this guy's like, no way, that's not a double. There's no possible way that's a double. How is he doing this trick? You know, there has to be a quick trick that he's doing, or a mirage or something that he can't figure out. And the whole drive of the film is him trying to figure this out. And he goes to America and meets up with Tesla, Nicholas Tesla, whatever his name is, which is played by David Bowie, and his assistant, which is played by Andy Serkis. And if you don't know Andy Serkis, he's the one that played the ape in Planet of the Apes and Gollum from Lord of the Rings. And they do a freaking awesome job of portraying Tesla in this film. And I love the concept of bringing actual history into film. And he's such an underappreciated inventor. And I like the fact that this film brings him out into the forefront and actually shows how good of an inventor he was, and how he was ruined by Edison in his whole catastrophe. So the whole backstory of this film is the magicians, but it has very interesting little side stories, which is Christopher Nolan's staple. I love that about him. So again, The Prestige, this is a 2006 film. I give this a 9 out of 10 for this film. The following, I give a 6 out of 10. It's good, but not as good. You can tell the development in how he makes films and everything. It took a while. Alright, the following film that he did after the following was Memento, and Memento was a huge leap forward for him. It is an amazing movie, and I'm going to be reviewing that next week. So these two films, Following and The Prestige, both directed by Christopher Nolan, and a huge anticipation for Dunkirk. Please check this out over the summer. I want to make this a huge box office success for him, because if he does, then he's able to make more movies and has more control over his films, and he's great. I can't wait to see more from him. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Man Bites Film. I'll see you guys next week for a review of